I live in Zimbabwe, where over the years I've noticed declining rainfall, increased frequency and severity of droughts, and depletion of soil fertility that has been accompanied by falling water tables. I'm going to talk about my experiences as a participatory action researcher in a multi-stakeholder project that tackled social ecological issues that were causing food insecurity in 8 districts of Mashonaland East Province of Zimbabwe. But before I do that, I would like to give you a bit of background about Zimbabwe and the province in which the project took place. Firstly, smallholder farmers comprised by far the vast majority of the population in communal lands where the intervention took place. Communal land was actually created by the colonial government in the 1930s to settle local populations that were displaced from high potential areas to make way for settler populations. The agricultural and natural resources management knowledge of the indigenous people was also marginalized in the process of the displacement, and it was stigmatized as backward. But as you probably know, after independence in 1980, there were a lot of initiatives that were directed at redistributing land for the benefit of the local population. And at another level, there has also been a growing interest in revaluing and utilizing indigenous knowledge. Now, talking about the ecological issues that are affecting the country at the moment, there has been a lot of overexploitation of natural resources, poor farming methods, monocropping, depletion of soil fertility and silting of rivers, and this has been exacerbated by growing populations in the country. And this has connived in a sense to cause or reduce the productive capacity of the land. At the same time, it has been worsened by warmer temperatures, declining rainfall, droughts and pests that have increased in severity. You might also want to know that Zimbabwe, even though Zimbabwe bears the brunt of climate change, it is a net carbon sink. And finally, I think to summarize the background, the key point that arises from this background is that Zimbabwe has been has been periodically importing food and receiving food aid because of the social ecological challenges that I've just described. Now, it is against this background that a number of 3 local organizations actually and one United Kingdom-based organization came together to start a project called Livelihood Security in a Changing Environment in Zimbabwe, Organic Conservation Agriculture. The organizations that took part in that are Zimbabwean as Fambizanai Permaculture Center, Zimbabwe Organic Producers and Promoters Association, and the Government Department of Agricultural Technical Extension Services. And from the UK, Garden Africa took part in the project. They together supported the establishment and development of organic farmer associations in Mashonaland East Province that were going to spearhead the response to food insecurity. So what strategies did the project employ in order to tackle the food security challenges that were being faced in the province? They trained farmers in organic conservation agriculture as well as in participatory marketing system development, used participatory action research, provided necessary material resources to enhance production systems, certified and labeled organic produce, and supported farmers to engage with policymakers and influence both policymakers and implementers in the area of agriculture and natural resources management. So what does conservation agriculture involve? What is it? It is a form of agroecology that regenerates landscapes and societal health. I think a very comprehensive definition of agroecology comes from the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, which says agroecology embraces complexity, depends on diversity and builds upon it, is knowledge intensive and builds on traditional agricultural practices with modern research and technology, strengthening the sovereignty of small-scale family farmers. It provides local solutions to local problems and regenerates and restores, working with nature and not against it. What you may wish to know have been the project outcomes to date. This project started in 2011, and so far it has established 44 organic farmer associations with a membership of 950 farmers. It has built farmer knowledge on agroecology and organic marketing. It has enhanced farmer associations agency and improved their conditions through joint production and marketing and engaging traditional leaders, policy makers, buyers of produce and service providers, so that they support them in implementing agroecology and producing food sustainably. The project has also led to the certification of 185 hectares of land as organic, but perhaps most importantly and most relevant to the theme of our case study, it resulted in increased food and income security of the participating farmers by doubling their yields. What you may be interested to know is what is it that enabled the project to achieve this success. Firstly, I could talk about 4 reasons, enablers, and one of them is the integration of farmers and scientists' knowledge in tackling the problems, the utilization of knowledge from several disciplines covering soils, climate, agriculture, marketing, policy, biology, the development of the collective agency of multiple actors that were involved in the project, and the building on farmers and local intellectual, social and material resources, building on what is there. Now, what are some of the challenges that the project is facing in terms of scaling out the project solutions to other parts of the country? One of them is the absence of organic agriculture in school and college curricula, which means that trainers don't have the sufficient capacity to help farmers. The other one is the absence of budgetary support for organic agriculture research and innovation along the entire value chain. And the third one is the absence of government-approved differentiation of organic produce from other agricultural produce in the supermarkets, for example. I would like to conclude the case study by highlighting some of the key lessons that were learned in the project. Firstly, networked farmer groups are an important mechanism for enabling collective learning and agency and for improving their socio-ecological conditions. Secondly, joint learning, reflection, planning, and action are necessary for the development of farmer capacities. And finally, personally, my participation in the project made me realize the value of combining multiple actors, several disciplines, plural ways of knowing, joint learning and action in tackling nexus issues that give rise to food insecurity. Thank you very much.